Good afternoon, everyone. We are here with Julie Bruns, Steven Kammerer, and Sean Williams. I'm Jay Manari, Festival Director of MiraBan UK Film Awards 2nd edition, and today we're talking about Ada, short film candidate for Best Dramashort, Best Actress, and Best Film Score. Welcome, Julie, Steven, and Sean. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So first of all, a little bit of new information about Steven, Julie, and Sean. Steven Kammerer is a filmmaker and he is from Vancouver, Canada. He made 4 shorts last year and is now working on his first directorial feature debut. And we hope it's going to be Ada, hopefully. We really love the movie. Julie, she's an actress since she was 4 years old. She started very early on in her career. She's also a director, writer, and producer. She acted on over 30 independent films, and she is starring Ada in Ada shorts, directed by Steven. And then we have Sean Williams, a film composer of Ada. He's a very versatile film composer. His background is in classical guitar, and he won several awards. And this movie also gave him great recognition for his film score. So thank you for being all here, guys. It's been really a pleasure to welcome you all.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's go into Ada. I'll try to be brief, but I really love the movie, so stop me if I go too long. Ada Shorts is a short story about adabyronlovelace. She is practically what we can consider today the first female programmer that invented. She took the legacy of Charles Babbage, that is considered the father of computer, and she developed his studies on the analytical engine. So if we are doing this live stream call today, it's because of Ada. We have to thank her for that. The story, yes, thank you, Ada. The story that Steven decided to direct and write is concentrating on the last year of Ada's life. Is in London, 1851, and she's trying desperately to raise funds to have this analytical engine finally built. But because she's a woman, a Victorian age, and because she has difficulties, financial difficulties to create this analytical engine, she's struggling, and we know that her legacy will be taken finally by Alan Turing, who will create the analytical engine. So I really, love the story, and I have to say that after watching your movie, I did a lot of research about Ada herself. And I noticed rewatching your movie about 3 times that you've been very faithful to her notes, her historical background, even in the words that Julie used in the acting. So I'm really pleased with the level of detail and attention that you put into this short. So first of all, I found about Ada thanks to you. I didn't know about her, but how did you find out about Ada? You, Steven, and I guess you communicated to the others.
Well, I knew a lot about the poet Lord Byron. I had been studying sort of like the late poets of England, and reading a biography of Byron, her father, I came across this little passage that he had a daughter, his only legitimate daughter, Ada. Mm-hmm. And I think I actually at the time I shouted it out to Julie, said, hey, there's wow. Not only did he have a daughter who was a brilliant mathematician, but she seems to be the first computer programmer. What a movie that would make. Mm-hmm. And Julie jumped on it right away and said, yeah, that's it. That's your story right there. So I went to collect there's 5 or 6 full-length biographies of Ada Lovelace, going back to the first one in 1977. And it was at the end of that first biography where I found these little details about her gambling addiction and how she died with great debts. Mm-hmm. And then when we were thinking about a short, I thought, well, that's it right there. There's something we can revolve within a 15-minute short where we can just nail down all the big, emotional, powerful events of her life and to just distill it down into a couple of days here. In 1851, makes her last desperate gamble.
Right.
It fails. That's
I see. And for you, Julie, what was the experience of playing Ada? What was your first feeling in approaching your persona?
It's kind of an honor to portray somebody who has existed and left such a mark on the world. At some point during my acting career, I also was working as a web developer. So having a bit of coding knowledge myself, it was really amazing to learn that the first not just female programmer, the first programmer in the world was a woman.
Yes. So many women behind the so-called invention of men.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in this field and never knew about her, never even named, never was aware of that. And technically, would be a bit of a male-dominated field now. But discovered that it has to be a talented woman. And I think the research that goes into the role, where that role is based on an actual person. You want to be thorough because you're not just creating a character, you're honoring the person who actually lives.
Right.
There's a lot of shared research that did, a lot of reading, a lot of things that did.
We should point out we also were in London for 6 weeks at the time of around the time this idea was gestating. And she was studying at Lambda, and he was just pounding the pavement all over central London looking for the blueprints. So I was looking for everybody's blueprints, but I came across Ada Lovelace in St. James Square, where she was living in a very posh manner. And so where this takes place is she had moved out of there by 46 because her husband was downsizing. He wasn't interested in London. She spent all her time in London in these last few years, loving it down there. She was friends with Babbage and all the other scientists. Her husband was on their country estate in Somerset most of the time. And so he wanted to downsize their London abodes, and she moved to Great Cumberland Place, which is just north of Hyde Park, which is a bit more bourgeois, not so palatial in St. James Square. So we had to find a heritage home in Vancouver that looked something like 1850s style bourgeois Marylebone in London. Not easy to find because there's nothing exists here before the 1860s and 70s.
Yeah, right.
So that was another side of it, trying to recreate London in 1851 when you're in Vancouver in a blizzard in February is when we filmed it.
Fantastic. Well, about the music, Sean, I wanted to ask you, actually it's for both Steven and Sean in this case, the structure of the music is so momentous to underline, the drama that Ada is living. It's literally like the music seems another character in the film for how powerful it is. How has been the structure, the idea, the work on the music for you, and along with Steven's directions?
Well, we're pretty fortunate. Like Steven and I had met the previous year to this film even being made, and so we had a lot of time to actually kind of work together. And I put together a lot of ideas. Like when the script finally came together, and I was able to actually to work off that script and put together ideas and send them to Steven and work back and forth with kind of carving out, what we thought was a good, appropriate tone and sound for the story. So that was pretty nice. We had a bunch of opportunities to work back and forth. We wanted something that represented and I'm trying to recall the conversations we had about it. We wanted something that represented the sort of technical nature of Ada, but also represented the period of the film, the time period of the film. So we kind of ended up on this quartet idea, which, putting a bit of a modern twist on strings and this sort of technical nature of their performances. And really at the end of the day, I think we just wanted to focus on the emotion, the turmoil of Ada and what she was experiencing. That's sort of how I recall approaching it. Steven, I'm not sure if you have anything to add about that.
Yeah, that sums it up nicely. I remember sending little notes like, she's a mathematician, like that electronic sort of feel. Although we want to add instruments as well. Matt really nailed it for us. It was a very exciting time too because we were filming this within 8 days.
Oh wow, pretty rushy.
Yeah, so with the production competition here called Crazy Eights, and we always shout out a thanks to Crazy Eights because there's a lot of support behind this production company. We get a lot of crew, a lot of gear, a lot of just general support to do this. But we have to film it in 8 days. So Sean had written a lot of sort of things beforehand, but really he had to see the final cut. And once he got the final cut, he had, another couple of days to really go finish writing everything, send it to then we all ended up in a studio, Monarch Studios, with a quartet, and basically nailing it down in one evening, right?
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was a pretty mad production schedule. I remember we got the final picture. I remember printing off a queue to send. I had a music copyist in Toronto. We're in Vancouver, and I think it was noon. I sent off the music to get printed, and we had the recording session at 8 p.m. So it was like everything was within a few hours.
Absolutely, wow! It's amazing to know that it's composing music at that level of greatness that it came out with. It's impressive the short amount of time you had also to record the quartet and making it into kind of sort of a real music. I have wanted to talk more about the psychology of Ada, which I think in a way reflects because in the music as well, because mathematics and music are so connected. And at the same time, I was reading myself about Ada and how her mother in a way pushed her towards more mathematics rather than literature. She was in a way afraid that she was going to follow Lord Byron's path, and also it was not only a poet, it was like a revolutionary, joined the Greek War of Independence, so literally not a character that you hoped for, at least the mother didn't hope her daughter to follow that irrational journey. So I think she made a great point in pushing her towards science because at least she could do that at home. So their psychology, I also read that she was pushed by her mother to do some exercise in self-control, that she had to lie down for a longer amount of time, that she had to control herself in staying still. And I have to say that I was thinking then in the scene when she's in a way attacked by the man that are rather suggesting her to produce an infant on the spot instead of doing what she's a genius in doing. Did you feel, Julie, in a way, were you thinking about that side of Ada's biography? Did you know about that, and how did you approach that moment?
Yeah, I mean, especially in those times, following his passion for sex and that. But I mean, in general, in the time, I think women were expected to not only continue to require and follow such cultural norms, and Ada was, through her actions, I don't think she wanted to be any of those things. She was great, she was clever, she was witty, she was late to the party, she was just blisteringly intelligent, and I think it must have been so difficult for her to feel all of this capability in herself and be expected to be this kind of ornamental woman of the times. But yeah, a lot of thought kind of went into the frustration and everything kind of going on underneath her current. We did read a lot of her letters in the last few years of her life. And picked a few of the words of the script are directly lifted, especially the end scene is actually a direct letter of hers.
Yes. the words that she says, that brain of mine is something more than mortal, as time will show, and I think she was damnly right.
But she knew she was onto something amazing, and she knew that if somebody were to look at her stuff later, it was there, and at the end of the day, that's all she really had to be satisfied with.
Right.
And one thing we really enjoyed was the dynamic
Mm-hmm.
of all the various relationships she has. So we put together, I think, a really great cast with our characters, John Cross and Grieg, who are pulling her in very different directions.
Mm-hmm.
And all this is quite accurate to the time. I mean, she had these male companions. And Grieg was very much the upright lawyer to the family,
Mm-hmm.
who was trying to protect her honor. John Cross was very much leading her into these dark realms of gambling syndicates and race cars.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, her parents are very much in the background in our version because there's just so much going on. But obviously in the feature film about Ada,
Mm-hmm.
we really want to get more into how she was coming to terms and really embracing the father side of her heritage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very late when she finally was coming out. She made a pilgrimage to Newstead Abbey, actually, behind her mother's back. She finally went up to Newstead, which is the Nottinghamshire country manor of the Byron family, which already in 1850, when she went there, had been turned into a shrine, practically a museum to Byron. And she went there basically as a pilgrimage, because she was really trying to marry these two sides of herself,
Mm-hmm.
the poetic and the mathematical side.
Yeah,
And
and
that's just so fascinating. She was pulled in so many different extreme directions.
absolutely. And I also was reading about relationships. I was finding out that in a way, I don't think any relationship was distant from science or mathematics. For instance, John Cross, I think, was an expert in cryptography. So she had, I would say, always a science connection also in her love relationship, as if she could love only people who could love her mind, not only her beauty, and it absolutely shows her cleverness in choosing a partner. And I remember I was intrigued reading a little bit about her biography, that she used her being seductive in a way to protect her mind and push it forward. I think she seduced her young professor, I mean, when she was very young, because he could teach her more about math.
Yeah, and when her mom found out about it, of course the tutor was fired and sent off. It was a big scandal.
Yeah, and I mean that's the beauty. I think it shows how much woman can be beyond her time, and she knew how much her mind and her discovery was important not only for her but for the future. So she made any sort of sacrifice, and brilliantly clever. I mean, I really admire her, and I'm honored that I have watched this movie and you made me know her, because I didn't know about her. I knew about Alan Turing, but it's a shame that they didn't mention her in the Imitation Game. They should have, at least. It's a legacy.
When we watched that with you, we also thought, I mean, Ada was a pretty big name for Turing, because he named a whole, something after her, the Ada objection to computer. For Turing, the Ada objection was the idea that computers would one day be able to think exactly like humans.
Yeah.
Because Turing thought eventually they would become sentient. And I think, and Ada said explicitly, though, already in 1850, around then, that no, it's not true. She can't see it becoming exactly like a human being. It's still going to be a very fancy outfit. Although it will be able to do all these things like compose music.
Right.
But she didn't believe at the time that she would become an android that could become sentient. And that, for Turing, was the Ada objection, and that's still a big concept in debating AI these days.
Mm-hmm. I see. And so is it in plan to make a feature about Ada then?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
But this is going to have to be filmed, I think, in England, not in Vancouver.
Better. They have to reconstruct an entire building. But definitely, I mean, I was hoping that was going to be your feature directorial debut, because, I fell in love immediately, and I think because of the attention to detail you put on in the story, and also because there is no more, I mean, apart from the Conceiving Ada of 1997, I don't know there is any other movie about her, so it's about time to see and show her, you know, story, and I hope, you know, you will make it soon. When is the, do you have any schedule yet, or is still in development?
Still in development, yeah.
Okay.
Development, because we want to do a smaller budget feature that we're working on right now, and then so that's the stepping stone to a larger, because it has to be a larger budget feature in order to do justice to it. Film in England, to be able to, period pieces are just a big budget deal no matter how you slice it. So we have some stepping stones to get there, but it is a feature that is just demanding to be made. It's shocking that there is not a bioepic outcome yet. And sure that the character of Ada is showing up more and more in sort of different sci-fi shows. She was recently a character on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And something else as well. So, but the fact that you have to go back to conceiving Ada, which is also very heavily stylized.
Cyber, yeah, it's like a cyber technology story.
But Tilda
Swinton,
yes, plays her. That's brilliantly cast. I love the fact that they somehow got Tilda Swinton to play this movie.
Right. Well, we really hope to see that soon, though. I know it takes time, development, and feature is much more of a greater commitment. But I think you are a great team, and I really, really hope to see the feature very soon. It's been a pleasure to host you all. It's been, I hope, a pleasure for the audience as well. And I just want to remind the audience that we're live stream on the 28th, 29th, and 30th of August. You will be able to watch Ada on live stream, and also you can vote for your favorite film of the entire edition among all the shorts and the feature. The winners of this edition will also be streamed for a week on our festival partners, Festivaldirector in Montreal, Quebec. So we really, really hope. Also, that will be on more close to your time zone. You don't have to watch it on ours or other movies available on there. We really, really hope that you enjoyed today's session, and thank you again, Steve, Julie, and Sean, for being with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.